What's going on, you guys? And Dead right here. Just wanted to get another video for y'all. This one's going to be a bit different. This one is a my feelings on the demo version of Apache Air Assault. Yes, I know this game's already out. It came out about mid-November of this past year, 2010, and I haven't actually got around to playing it. I haven't got a chance to play it. I think it retailed for 60 bucks, so I might eventually get around to getting it, but I think it's pretty interesting. I really like the way it's well done. It doesn't use that that Hawk style, you know, like Google Maps or Google Earth like image look, where it's just like a picture of the ground that Hawks uses. But that's because it's an Apache, it's a chopper. You're not flying way sky high in the air, so the ground is actually detailed. You can actually see all the units. You can see guys on the backs of trucks driving down the street. And honestly, although the graphics are not really spectacular, especially like I was just talking about the guys that are on the backs of the trucks. There's actually one of the missions here in the demo where you see a guy on the back of a truck, or you see guys on the back of a truck that are just trying to shoot all these little guys on the trucks and blow them up. And they do look a little crude. The trucks do look a little crude once you actually zoom in with like the front-mounted machine guns, start blasting them away. But honestly, I think it's a lot of fun. It's got some great camera angles. It's got a camera angle where you can actually be you're the second man, you're the second, I guess, the primary flyer, because the person in front of you in a chopper is the gunman. He uses the machine gun, and the person in the back would control the actual flight of the ship, the flight of the chopper, as well as fire the missiles and do all the targeting systems and stuff like that. The guy in the front's primarily a gunner, and he's also just another sight, of course. So the guy, you can switch between the two positions, and I actually like that you can change between the different camera angles. It's got the third-person camera angle that pulls you away from the action. It's got the pilot seat, so you can fly as the pilot and see what he sees. You can fly, you can get the perspective of the gunner and see what he sees as you fly around, or you can do the virtual cockpit that just basically like a camera on the front of the actual chopper, and that's what you see. So you just see, you don't actually see the actual cockpit drawn in front of you. You just see the actual ground and whatever you're flying around. There's no actual cockpit, no guys in front of you, no guys around you. So let me go and just press start and go ahead and get into this menu. Maybe I can actually get a peek at the game. Honestly, I think the game's a lot of fun. It controls really well. It's got two different control schemes. It only has actually one control scheme from what I believe. It's got a couple different ones, but the basic one that I used, just the default, it's probably recommended. But it has two different difficulties in the controls. And this is actually where it gets kind of interesting. The first control scheme, or there's two different difficulties, at least in this demo, has training and reality, or realistic, I believe it is. So what you're going to do is, in training, you say you have your 360 controller. This is to rotate the blades, to stop the rotation of the blades. This is to change your pitch, so you can push forward to dip down, pull back to push to pull back up. Left and right on the left stick, choose your direction that your ship is facing, and excuse me, no, that the left and right on the stick chooses your strafing, so whether or not you're tilting your ship to move to the specific angles once the blade is spinning and pulls you in that direction. Your right stick actually controls, left and right would control the turning of the actual ship, and again, up and down on the right stick, it decreases the blade rotor speed or reduces the rotor speed. Right trigger is used to fire your machine guns, left trigger is used to zoom. You use the D-pad to switch between your different weapons, and you fire those weapons with R1, and you press A to toggle your weapons, and you can also press Y to, you can press B to go into the gunner's perspective and see what the gunner sees and actually manually use the gun, and from that position your chopper will continue flying in whatever direction you've kind of set it in, but it will slowly kind of readjust itself and just kind of level out in the air. Or you can press in the left stick, which actually turns on the auto hover mode, so in the event that you're actually shooting people with the gunman, you can then just hit left stick, and that'll tell the driver to just stabilize the chopper in the midair, and you can just spin around in the turret and just shoot all the guys. It's a lot of fun. And it uses both the basically the turret, the perspectives that we've seen in, say, the Modern Warfare game, Modern Warfare 2 for example, where it has both the the actual gunman, where it shows the blacked out, grayed out sort of grayscale perspective on all the different enemies, and it also has the heat-seeking version, the heat-seeking perspective, which shows you, you know, the white-hot individual heat signatures that shows up really well. So that's really well done. Basically, again, the difference between the difficulty levels is with training, any sort of movement where if you're, say, you're tilting to the side, or you're raising up, or you're bending for, or you're dipping forward to move forward, or dipping back to move back, or anything like that. Once you've finished, once you've released that stick or in those different directions, the machine, the chopper sort of levels out for you to try and make it easier. When you play the realistic mode, if you're strafing to the left, or you're strafing to the right, excuse me, say you're strafing to the right, and you let go of the right stick, your chopper stays in that position, so you continue to move off to the side, and the game would not auto-center you and put the stick back into the middle and level you back out. So it's definitely, I would definitely say playing realistic would give you a better control of the actual ship. You could do more advanced maneuvers, but for the average person, it'd be really difficult. So let me go ahead and just get a quick little look in at the game itself. I'll go ahead and play training just for the sake of this review. And the sound's pretty good too. I haven't heard a whole lot of it, but I played through all 3 demo levels last night, and honestly, it just makes perfect sense. The game feels really comfortable. You see, right now I'm currently in the third-person perspective, and I press the right stick up to ascend, so that spins up the chopper blades, and it lifts me up into the air. Then from here I can, it says ascend to 100 feet, descend to 100 feet, ascend to 140, descend to 100. Then this shows my, this is my altimeter up there. Press right to turn to face the waypoint, so press right on the right stick, and then press forward to tilt forward and fly towards my destination. This is really awkward from this perspective. And fly towards my destination like so. So you accelerate up and tilt forward on both sticks, and that gets you going in that direction. So let me go ahead and just change the camera perspective and show you the difference. So this would be from the pilot's perspective. Here's the gunman in front. You're back here where the pilot is. Then this is me switching to the gunman's position, and then again to the basically no actual cockpit being drawn. You just are playing. So now, like I said, say I'm going to strafe over to the left, and the whole camera's kind of tilted to the side. If I let go of that stick, it kind of auto recenters me to make it easier for me. So I'm going to turn and face this waypoint, way over here, proceed to that waypoint. And honestly, I mean, the game feels really good. It reminds me a lot of like what you always wanted out of, say, the Strike series that we had in the early 90s and early to late 90s that we had on the PlayStation, on the Genesis, stuff like that. It really feels like something you've always wanted out of that series, but it just didn't quite have the hardware to do it. So the game feels really solid, and let's see if I can actually get to a part where I can start shooting some dudes. And thankfully, it gives you multiple lives, so crashing is never really a big issue. I'll show you right now. If you get real low to the ground, it says terrain, 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 and lets you know that you're about to crash, like so. Boom. So, but let me go ahead and just exit this real quick, and I'll play an actual level where you're gonna shoot some dudes, and hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. One other thing that I like about this game is I do like the music. It just feels right at home with a lot of those earlier, like I said earlier, the earlier plane and chopper games. Just goes really well with what you're doing. Fortunately, I picked the same level again. Again, I think it is a $60 release. And the game, at least from what I've played in this demo, it just feels really solid. It actually comes, and they actually throw an advertisement in here, 16 multi-stage missions, 13 online multiplayer squad-based operation missions for 1 to 4 players, so it would have an online play of, again, 1 through 4. And also has a 2-player local cooperative where one of you plays as the pilot and the other one plays as the gunner, which I think would be actually pretty interesting because you can assume both roles playing by yourself, but to constantly have a gunner in the front, in a co-op atmosphere, I think would actually make this game really engaging. So I may actually end up at least renting it for that and play the game with a friend of mine or something. But Here's another mission where we'll shoot a few dudes.